What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. As always, we got, usually I say quite a couple stories. This week, it's a lesser amount of stories, but I will say that the quality of the stories is much higher. But we expect this, right around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, the stories tend to get a little quieter during these weeks, but I guarantee by the time next week rolls around, things will be picking back up. Anyways, I know it's a day late by the time that this video is going up, but, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you all are having an amazing day. Let me know down in the comments, what are you guys thankful for? For me, I'm thankful for video games. First things first, before we get into the big stories, I just wanted to let you guys know that obviously, at the time that you guys are seeing this video, today is Black Friday, and I'm sure there's going to be deals going through the weekend into Cyber Monday, but, just keep your eyes peeled on places like GameFly, GameStop, the PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch stores on PC as well, like Epic Games, Steam. I know some people have their opinions about the Epic Games store, but look, they're giving away a free game this week as always, and furthermore, they do have some good sales going on, so just look at all the various retailers. There's sales going on for games, consoles, controllers, accessories, everything at Walmart's, Target's, Best Buys. Just keep your eyes peeled. Amazon, anywhere, just keep your eyes peeled for the sales, because there's honestly some really good ones out there this year. Anyways, for our first official story of the day, we were talking last week about how Baldur's Gate 3 may be getting a physical release. Well, it was actually confirmed it will be getting a physical release. We just didn't know the exact dates, but we don't have the date, but you can buy it. It'll make sense in a second. Anyway, this is coming from Larian Studios on X, quote, playable on disc, must be the Baldur's Gate 3 Deluxe Edition. Then they have a link to the pre-order, and it says the Deluxe Edition for PS5, Xbox, and PC includes the Digital Deluxe Edition as well as exclusive physical feelies, including a 3-disc OST, map, and more. All for $79.99. So, $79.99, most games are retailing nowadays for, anywhere from $59.99 to $69.99, usually the latter. And when you're getting all those extra goodies, it's kind of hard to pass up. So I think for me personally, I am going to be pre-ordering this one. But if you are interested, again, pre-orders are live. I don't know of the official date, but it should be, hopefully, coming out soon. Next up, we heard news about a remaster of a game that, wow. When the first game got remade last year, it was already questionable as to if it actually needed the remake. Me personally, I would say it did not need the remake, but it surely, I can't say benefited from it. They more or less just changed the art style, so I would say that it was good to keep it in line with the second game. They look very similar artistically now because of that remake. But this one, it's not a remake, it's a remaster, but it's still questionable as if it was necessary. But anyway, this is The Last of Us Part 2. It was confirmed that there will be a remaster of the game coming out. So they put up a trailer. Shows off the gameplay, looks good, I guess. I don't know, kind of looks the same to me. It looks a bit better in some spots, like it does look a bit sharper, for example, but I don't know. There's going to be a new exclusive roguelike survival mode. There's going to be lost levels, a full DualSense wireless controller integration, new outfits, guitar free play, graphical enhancements up to 4K, and there's also going to be like a performance mode, so we can finally play the game above 30 FPS. For me, that was never an issue. You guys know my stance on that stuff. I don't care about FPS. If the game is fun, the game is fun. I used to play GoldenEye on the N64, and if y'all know anything about that, yeah, it's single digits FPS town. If you have the PS4 version right now, it's only going to cost you $10 to upgrade, so, that's nice at least, but, yeah, I love The Last of Us, so this is something that I'm going to buy, but at the same time, was it necessary for the new content? Sure, but, like, a whole remaster? I don't know, man. Next up, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is coming to Steam. We heard about this a while ago. It was announced that it will be coming to Steam, but now it's like, actually like more official. So, it's coming from Final Fantasy on X. It says FF7 EC has been published to Steam. We're thrilled to announce that FF7 EC has been published to Steam. The release date will be announced later, so please add it to your wishlist and stay tuned. So, no official date, but it is there if you want to add it to your list. Next up, we had the Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition announced. This coming from CD Projekt Red. Quote, in just 2 weeks, CD Projekt Red will release Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition for Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. The game brings the full story of a merc named V, combining Cyberpunk 2077 and its spy thriller expansion Phantom Liberty, as well as every update to them ever released, and will be available digitally and physically in select markets starting December 5th. End quote. This will be retailing for $59.99, not $69.99, which is, I feel like it could have been passed off as a $69.99 game, but since the game is technically 3 years old at this point, yeah, I feel like $60, especially for all the content that you're getting there, I feel like that's fair. Granted, I can't say that I'm mixed on this release. It's just, I'm mixed about the original release now, because now we're seeing this Ultimate Edition come out where, like, the game is finally where they want it. They got the expansion out. They got Cyberpunk 2.0 out. And now I'm just wondering, like, what would have happened if Cyberpunk, instead of releasing in 2020, would have just come out in 2023 instead? Like, what if they would have just indefinitely delayed it at the end of 2020 and waited to release it until now? For one thing, I know for a fact that people still would have been disappointed because just how much that game was hyped up. Like, there's no way that any game, no matter how good or amazing it was, could have ever lived up to those expectations, even at the time. But I do feel like CD Projekt Red's reputation would have taken less of a hit that way. Because at this point, I will say they have recovered in terms of their reputation for the most part, but there is a little bit of still that lost consumer trust. Sure, they went back and fixed the game, but they were willing to kind of rob their players blind and push out a broken product and blatantly lie time after time about the condition of the game, both on next-gen and furthermore old-gen consoles, going as far as to even hide just how bad the condition of those old-gen console releases were. So there is a bit of lost trust there. They have regained it a bit, and with, between the anime and all the improvements they made to the game, their trust is rebuilding, and, obviously everybody loves Cyberpunk. I mean, for everybody that's played it and actually given it a chance, they know how good it is. The only people that are still left that don't like it are, for the most part, those just closed-minded folks that are like, the launch was bad. Which again, I understand that the devs do still need to be held accountable, and the publisher, all that. For me personally, Cyberpunk 2077 is in my top 5 favorite games of all time. So, and I played the game on a last-gen console back at release, so, that has to say a lot. At this point, I feel my trust was never fully lost for CD Projekt Red, just because I already knew, right, deep in my gut. I was like, I know there's no way they push this out. I know this is coming from the higher ups. Let's just hope that something like Cyberpunk 2077's launch never happens again. Next up, we had a Dragon's Dogma 2 showcase announced. This coming from Dragon's Dogma on X. Quote, tune in on Tuesday, November 28th, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. GMT, for the Dragon's Dogma 2 Showcase 2023. See brand new gameplay reveals in an info-packed 15-minute live stream directly from director Hideaki Itsuno and producer Yoshiaki Hirabayashi, end quote. So, yeah, I don't know. Showcase. We're definitely going to recap that once it happens next week. Super excited for this game, and if you have PS Plus Extra or Premium, they did just add it to the catalog, so I would recommend going and giving that game a playthrough before Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out, which obviously it's still at least a couple of months away at this point, so you got more than enough time to do so. Next up, this one is insane, but Half-Life 1 got an update, and a massive update at that, 25 years after release. This is just insane. Anyway, we'll just kind of go through this, so let's go over the features of it. Half-Life Uplink. Originally released as a CD exclusive for magazines and hardware manufacturers, this mini campaign was built by the Half-Life team right after the game went gold. As this was many people's first experience with Half-Life, we thought it was finally time to bundle it with the main game, no sound card purchase necessary. 4 new multiplayer maps. Updated graphic settings. Play the game the way it looked in 1998, but on a modern monitor. Widescreen field of view, option to disable texture smoothing on the GL renderer, lighting fixes including the long-lost GL overbright support, software rendering on Linux, crisp colors, animated water, and unfiltered textures. Controller and Steam networking support. A proper gamepad config out of the box. Added support for Steam networking. Invite your friends or join games instantly with no fuss. Steam Deck support. UI scaling support for higher resolutions, because at this point, if you try to scale the game up, the game will scale up, but the UI, not so much. But now that the update is out, now it will. Restored content. We brought back the classic Valve logo video with its iconic music and reskinned the menu to match the 1998 build, along with the Valve logo intro video, Ivan the Space Biker, and Photo Barney. After all this time, we finally shipped the original heroes from the alpha builds of Half-Life available as multiplayer skins, as well as these rarely seen extras. In 1999, Valve released a CD called Half-Life Further Data at retail stores, and we're finally including much of that content. 3 multiplayer maps, 2 MP player models, dozens of sprays, and then they have a huge list of bug fixes and changes at the bottom that, just there to improve the experience, just small tweaks, changes, bug fixes. And then at the bottom, they included 8 free wallpapers for desktops and phones. So, yeah, talk about an anniversary, man. This is, wow. Live service games nowadays can't even keep up with this. This is just GG, Valve. That amazing. By the way, I have dived it back into play it, and yeah, I can confirm it's absolutely amazing. Next up, we got a bit of an update about the Wonder Woman game. I'm sure you guys heard about that being announced a little while ago, but there was a bit of concern about it because WB, Warner Bros., has been talking about putting out more live service projects and, just turning more of their IPs into live service games. which had many people concerned, rightfully so, about the Wonder Woman game, which, again, has already been confirmed to be in development. So this isn't like a thing leaking out or anything like that. Like, they already officially confirmed it a while ago. It's just we still had some questions about the game as to whether it be single player, live service, whatever. But anyway, thankfully, we got a bit of reassurance and confirmation coming directly from WB. So this coming from IGN, quote, Warner Bros. Responded with a statement to IGN denying that it will be a service game. Wonder Woman is a single-player action-adventure game set in a dynamic open world. This third-person experience will allow players to become Diana of Themyscira and introduce an original story set in the DC universe while also featuring the Nemesis system. Similar to what we saw in the Middle-earth games, the Nemesis system is pretty cool. We first saw it in Shadow of Mordor, and then they, kind of like expanded upon it in Shadow of War. So I'm really excited to see what it's like now in a next-generation game for Wonder Woman. But anyway, Wonder Woman is not being designed as a live service, and quote, a Warner Bros. Spokesperson said. So, we're good. Wonder Woman, it'll be a single-player game. Just, whew, to take off the cap, wipe off the sweat, you know what I mean? I was sweating there for a bit after I heard about WB doing the live service thing, remember how Wonder Woman's still in development, but thankfully this one is not being cursed with the live service treatment. Thank God. Next up, I just wanted to highlight this real quick. There is new trials available on PS Plus Premium. Those being The Lord of the Rings Gollum and Baldur's Gate 3. So if you've been wanting to check any of these games out, well, now you can. Again, it's a trial, so it's like a limited time thing. You can go in there and play for like a couple of hours. Definitely not going to be able to beat the whole game within the time of the trial, but, if you want to try it, and if you have PS Plus Premium, that's the time to do so. Next up, we got an update for Nintendo Switch Online, specifically a new game coming to the N64 section of it, which obviously means you need to have the expansion pack in order to actually be able to access this. This coming from Nintendo of America on X, quote, Adventure Calls in the Galaxy of Jet Force Gemini, coming to Nintendo Switch for Nintendo Switch Online plus the expansion pack members this December, end quote. No official date, but it's coming this December. I can highly recommend this one. This is one of those classic shooters from back in the day on the N64, developed by Rare. Yes, that Rare. The same Rare behind games like Donkey Kong and GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Yeah, this game was a lot of fun back in the day, so I can highly recommend diving into this one once it goes into the service. And finally, for our last story, Sony is facing a massive lawsuit. When I say massive, I mean it's not massive, like, Microsoft buck size with like $69 billion, but it's still in the billions. Anyway, this coming from Reuters, quote, Sony must face a mass lawsuit worth up to 6.3 billion pounds, aka 7.9 billion US dollars. Yes, almost $8 billion. That is insane. Over claims the PlayStation maker abused its dominant position, leading to unfair prices for customers, a London tribunal ruled on Tuesday. Sony Interactive Entertainment, aka SIE, was sued last year on behalf of nearly 9 million people in the United Kingdom who had bought digital games or add-on content through Sony's PlayStation Store. Alex Neil, a consumer advocate who has worked on previous campaigns, is bringing the case against Sony, which is valued at up to 5 billion pounds, aka 6.23 billion USD, plus interest. Her lawyer said the aggregate damages estimate of the case was up to 6.3 billion pounds in court filings last month. She says the company abused its dominant position by requiring digital games and add-ons to be bought and sold only via the PlayStation Store, which charges a 30% commission to developers and publishers. The claim alleges customers have therefore paid higher prices for games and add-on content than they would have done. Sony's lawyers argued the case was flawed from start to finish and said it would be thrown out. The Competition Appeal Tribunal ruled that Neil's case could continue, though it said people who had made PlayStation Store purchases after the case was filed in 2022 should be removed from the proposed claimant case or class. Neil said in a statement that Tuesday's ruling was the first step in ensuring consumers get back what they're owed. Sony did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So yeah, this is $8 billion, man. That is insane. So I guess the idea here is that, similar to other storefronts, they charge a certain percentage of, just like whatever is being sold in their store, right? But another kind of thing that plays into this is that if you're going to buy something off of the PlayStation Store, or just anything in the PlayStation ecosystem, period, when it comes to digital media at the very least, there's no way to get around that 30%. So on other platforms, you think like Xbox or PC, you go out, you go to the store, you see a card on the shelf for like, 1100 V-Bucks or COD points or whatever. You just buy that, put in the code, it gets added straight to your COD account inside of the game. If you want to do that on PlayStation, you cannot. There is no way to just redeem codes like that. The only way to get things like that on PlayStation is by adding money to your PSN account and then buying the game through their store. So if it's not making sense, basically on the other platforms, just to dumb it down simply, on the other platforms, there is a way to just get the item that you want. On Sony's platform, PlayStation, There is no way to do that. You have to buy the item that you want through Sony, which means no matter what they do, no matter what you do, they get a cut of the money no matter what. Personally, the way I see it, it's Sony's platform. It's their say as to how they handle it. I don't see it as being a wrong or right thing either way. We'll just see how this case plays out. And obviously, as always, as with, you know, any big lawsuits or just anything court-related in the gaming industry, I will be keeping you guys up to date as soon as we know more, as soon as we get any updates. But anyway, that is all the stories that I have for you guys this week. So now I definitely love to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on everything that we talked about? Whether it's, you know, Sony and that massive $8 billion lawsuit, or any of the games coming out, or Wonder Woman. Are you excited that it's not going to be a live service game? Are you one of the only people, probably the only person on planet Earth, that was hoping it would be a live service? Let me know your thoughts on that. And also, how was your Thanksgiving? What are you thankful for? Did you eat any good food? Just any of that. Whatever it is, whatever you're thinking. I'd definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyway, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. So if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well, then I know when to be here. Anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.